Hi, Sheila here, back with another Cosmic Shimmer tutorial for you, and this time it's fierce, in a wonderful way. If you want to make a desk caddy that looks as wonderful as this, look at that. We've got everything you need to make that desk caddy, all the moulds to make that. We've even can show you how to make it in a different colourway. I've made two, because I like them so much. How cool are they? So we've got all the moulds that you need. We've got the paints you need. I'm going to show you how to do it in real time. And, I'm going to talk. Yeah, that's going to happen. I can't not talk. And when you see how these started, I believe you're going to want to keep watching, because to go from this, get it looking in all its wonderfulness, to from that to that. Wonderful spam, glorious spam. I'm singing the spam song. Anyone who's of a certain age will know what I mean. Blame Monty Python. Keep watching. It's just a fabulous, fabulous project. I think so. I hope you do too. Let's do it. So we better get started with these moulds and get them made. We'll start with the dragon, and before we put any clay in there, we need a little bit of vegetable shortening, just a tiny little bit on your hands and your fingers, just so that they look like there's a little glisten on there, and then go over really quickly into the little pointy bits, the nooks and crannies, the bits where the clay might want to just cling. You want help to let it release, and then we are good to go. I've got some black paper clay here, and that's ready to play with on it, nice and smooth. And I'm going to squidge it in like this and press really well into the mould like this. So nice and heavy pressure, so that it gets, because it's a deep mould, so you want all that detail to come out of it again. So make sure it's pressed well into it. Don't worry about the little bits here at the minute. Just, we can work on that shortly. Yeah. So now that we've got that pressed well in, I'm going to look at the edges as I work around, and I'm going to press down and then just pull back a little bit so I can see what's happening with the shape of the mould. And the good thing to do is, before you even start putting clay into the mould, have a look at it, have a good look at it, and see what you've got coming before you even put anything, any materials in there. So you know roughly. It's like it's kind of like the sat nav on your car. When you can look at it, you can see where the road ahead's coming. Sometimes it's like the good thing to do with the mould before you get anything, put anything in it. Gives you just a heads up, doesn't it? So that looks pretty good to me. Nice and clean. This goes back with the big lump of clay I've got ready for these hands, claws, whatever they are. And then just go around and tidy up the edges. Just pull back if there's any little frilly bits. You can turn it around and flatten it a bit if you want, just to make sure we want this back bit as nice and neat as we can for the project. So it's probably a good idea to make that as flat as you can. And now you take your mould and you just manipulate it just a little bit like this. That's what these bits around the outside are for, to make it easy to break the seal, so you don't have to ever touch the material that's in there. And then you should be at the point where virtually it kind of like climbs out itself. And then you should be able to just pop him out like that. And there he is. And he's all ready to paint. So that's the first one done. You can pop him there. Sometimes if you've got some corn flour in the mould, it'll come off onto if you've used corn flour onto your with your black, you'll see it a little bit, but that's okay. When it dries, we can dust that off. And we're going to paint him anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's all good. And then, I always get confused on which hand we're going to use. See, I'm saying hand. It's going to be, I can't remember. We'll do them both. We'll use it anyway, so you know what, just do them both. It's because we're using it the other way around as well. I think it is this one. It is this one. Yeah, because when it comes out, it's going to be the right way around to be grabbing around the castle. Yeah, I think we're good. And it's a good thing when you're doing this. I've done this a few times where I have about, 5 right hands and I still haven't done a left hand because I keep forgetting which one I've done. So have a little process. Always start with the left one, then the right one, then the right one. And again, we're just tidying that up. And then we can, put that on there. Do the little squidgy thing. These are the little claws, these talons are the bits that are a little bit trickier to get out. So have a little bit more patience with that. Don't rush it. You don't want to leave any nails behind or anything. And you might need just a little bit of help to get it out there. I see they're all coming out now there. There you go. Very good. Perfect. Yay. So that's the right one to be grabbing around the side of the castle. So that's the black clay done. And we're going to move on and do the coloured clay for the... Oh, no, it's not. We've got the wing to do. Okay. Bear with, we need to do the wing. Same thing. I've got... need to just remember which ones were black clay, which ones were the cream coloured clay, and yeah, the wing is also the black clay because that's with the black clay that really shows up the fabulous polishes. They look so good with the black, so that also needs to be the black clay. They look good on other colours, but the black just looks amazing. So right. Your little hand there. We're going to take the clay again, and again these little bits in here are the bits that we need to make sure we've got some help to get them out, especially that one there. So let's start at the top, and I always use too much clay. I mean there's loads there. I'm going to take some away because that's it's just a bit daft. So I'm going to push that in there at the top like that. And again, I like to turn it around and push away most of the time actually when I'm putting clay in the mould, and I can see it easier working away from me. And trying to keep this quite a thin mould, this one. So, we want the back as well to be nice and level if we can do that, because we will see part of that on the project at the back. So it's nice if we can keep it as, uniform as possible. So just following it around. Making sure we get into all those little pointy bits, the clawy bits. So when you think you've finished the wing, I'm going to just turn it over and flatten it a bit and then tidy it up, because I do want that back quite level if possible. So now I'm going to go around and just tidy and pull back. Don't want these little bits here too fine, because if you make them too thin, they just haven't got enough strength. They're going to be harder to get out of the mould. So just make sure they've got enough clay in them. All right, so now we're ready to take... Oh no, I nearly, in my haste to get that one done, I nearly squidged. I've done that so many times, you know. Phew. And what I would say is when you've made the pieces that you're going to use, put them somewhere safe. Safe, Sheena. Not right there. Safe. I'm going to do that. Look, safe. All right. All right. So now take this one and just gently start to encourage these little pointy bits to say goodbye to the mould. The rest of it, easy peasy. These are the bits that are, but look, they're doing it anyway. Yeah, they're playing nice. It's good. And then we can take that out. So there's a couple of little bits of white on there, but again, I'm not bothered because we're going to paint that. But that's what we've got there. And this is what happens. You'll find sometimes if you've used white clay, all right, not even going to try and hide it because this is real life. There's a couple of things you can do. You can try and remove that if you need to, or you can live with it, which I'm going to because I'm going to paint over it. But what I would say is before you, if you use white clay and then you're going to use black clay, make sure you get right into your mould and clean it thoroughly with some soapy water because you may find there's some dried clay in there. But I'm kind of pleased that happened because you need to know these things. So I'm not even gonna redo it and not even show you because these things happen. But it doesn't really have any impact on what we're going to do because we're only going to see about that much of the wing anyway, and we're going to paint it. That'll be fine. It's all good. That's those done. Next thing is we're going to do the lighter clay because we've got these two guys to do. These little things. Not much. Hello. Phew, they're sizable. But I'm going to put my other things in a safe place and then we will continue. Check out that huge, humongous, fabulous chunk of clay. Massive, isn't it? I always have this colour ready because it's my go-to base colour. And it's a great one I mix often. And it's white with a little bit of brown in it and sometimes a little bit of orange just to make a kind of beige base instead of stark white. I like to paint on that more my base colour. I think it looks better. And it's good for filming as well. So, you know, when you guys want to see something on TV or this, it shows up easier than white. But it does give everything a nice, you know, if you're doing skin tone and things, it's almost there. So, yeah. I always have some of that mixed up, but I always do put it back in the big thing of foil and keep it as moist as possible. So yeah, that's the big white one with tiny, I mean, if you're talking that big lump of clay that you just saw me have there, that massive lump, well, I think is almost a whole pack of the white. In that, I would put a pea size and then half it of brown. It's so powerful. And then mix it in and then put the other half in and then half a pea size of orange and work it like that just till you get the shade you want because it's surprising how pigmented the coloured clays are. So let's get this castle moulded. So again, just going to put this in just to make it really easy. When you look at this one that's already painted, you can see how much shrinkage, how the clay does shrink. And I have to say, this one's been made for quite a while and so is this one. And because it's been so hot, especially in this room, my studio, it gets really hot. And with this crazy summer we've had, it's actually shrunken more. But saying that, because there's less water in the clay, it's also become so sturdy. It's so it's a good thing. There's less water in it, so it's become more much more robust, which is good. So I'm not prattling on. Oh, I can talk, can't I? Let's get started. I'm going to start up here. And I'm going to squidge this in there like that. Just squidge. You know, you look at a mould and it doesn't matter how big it is or how complicated, it's all the same. All you're doing is squidging some clay into another thing, just the same. So if you can squidge it into one little one, you can squidge it just the same into a bigger one. Same process, just have the clay there ready. And I always like to start at one end, like that, get that one sorted. Don't matter about what's going on here. Don't even pay it never no mind. Don't even look at it. Give it the cold shoulder. And then just this here. This is all that matters at the minute in your world. Just that. Which is what I like. Kind of mindful as well. It's really quite relaxing because, you know, it feels really tactile. It's lovely to do. When you do it, it's because it's not sticky. If it was sticky, sorry for the noise. It's so warm. Windows have to be open. And I don't know where that's going. There's nothing along this street. There's nothing there. It's country little road, one end. What's going on? So, yeah, it's not sticky, which I would not like. That would not be, I wouldn't be loving that. From being a kid, I hated my hands sticky. No, don't like it. Scream blue murder. Like me to make a noise. And so what you do is just follow it down. Just keep squidging, pressing in. Make sure you've got all the detail in. Squidge, move along, squidge. I mean, you can clearly see I've got far too much there. So I'm going to just take all that ridiculous excess off at that point now. I can get rid of that. I just always like to, it's like when you're packing, you know, packing clothes, when you take too much. Yeah. Or if I'm doing a demonstration on TV, I always take more than I need. Just be prepared, you know, best to take more. You never know. Like when I did the robins mould, and I had about 50 robins. It absolutely did look like Hitchcock's The Birds. Probably scared a few people. Supposed to delight them. So when you come to the corner now, you can see I like to work the excess to one point where I can just kind of, you know, get rid of it. And it's starting to dry a bit out now, the clay. It's warm again. This room is always warm. And later on in the day, the warmer it gets. So, I see there's a bit there. So look out. There's a couple of bits in this one there. It goes quite shallow, like the brickwork. And that's one of them there. So just look out for that. Keep looking at you. It's nothing ruined. Nothing that you can't go back and rectify. That's the good thing about the clay. If you miss a bit, you just put it back. It's all good. And worst case scenario, you did something and it, you know, didn't come out. You didn't press hard enough somewhere. You just put it back in the mould. No harm, no foul. It's all good. Nothing to say here. Move on. So just keep going. Job's a good one till you get the end. Boom, like that. Just like that. Now that clay should be under something this year, under a jar. Silicone, something to wrap it up. I need to think of the ultimate perfect, just quick wrap stuff. You know, that beeswax wrap stuff might be good. I wonder if that would be any. just as a quick wrap around it, because the foils are perfect, but it won't stay. It doesn't shape. It bounces back. You'll know if you try wrapping it around something. It's the weirdest stuff. I think it's alien technology. So I just press down like this because we're flattening the back, because here's the thing, the top bit of this is going to be seen. So this top bit, you will see the back of your project. The bottom bit will be stuck. So both kind of cases calls for a nice flat surface if possible. And we've got a nice flat surface. That could be a little bit flatter. So we can just flatten that out a little bit more. Sometimes it doesn't matter as much. Now, you see there? Gone too thin. If we look there, all right? And this is why we do these videos. This is what it's all about. You know, we want things to happen sometimes because that's how we can show you these things. We don't want it all to go tickety-boo, or we can't teach you. So there, this is all great, but this here where there's more detail and some more brickwork, it's gone a bit thin. It goes right in here. If you look on that mould there, can you see there where it goes right in? If I pick this up slowly, the camera can, in there, it's very, very thin, all right? So what's happened is there's not enough clay over that bit, all right? So I need to put more clay over there. So just make sure that's supported enough. I'm going to do that. Just for that bit there. Doesn't matter about the back. The front be just the same. And the back's just got a little bit of reinforcement now. So now, what we're going to do, you're going to start to break the vacuum, the seal. Just, well, like, that's what these little bits here are for. So you can just, you know, give it a little, do a little dance. This bit's easy, that's, you know, you see, this bit's going to come out no bother there. More, you can just give it a little, you know, a little help once you get that. You can see when it's going to, you know, the bits that are going to just, like, go, oh yeah, okay, I get it, all right, I'm good. This up here is a little bit tricky. And this one's clinging on a bit there, but we might have to help it out a little bit in this bit here. Definitely, because this is the thin bit, remember. But that's coming out now nicely. This here, the camera's doing it. Let me pick this up and see if you can see it better. Is that focusing on that? Just this bit up here. You see, it's just a little bit. I think we're good there. And this bit here was the little bit thin bit there. Okay, let's see what we've got. All right. There we have it. And that was a little bit stickier than usual, not gonna lie. For some reason, that mould stuck a little bit more, but even though it did stick a little bit more, it looks great. See? Even though I had to give it a bit more encouragement, so don't be scared if you have to do that. That will dry brilliantly. Now I'm going to put that with the others. That's going to go out the way somewhere safe because I will squish it if I'm doing other things, which I am. I'll be doing something totally different now. I feel very Monty Python, and now for something completely different, because we're already doing the spam song, aren't we? We're going to do the gorgeous background on a spam tin. Right, so this is the mission. That's what we need to do. We need to get this scene onto that there tin. Okay, now this one's dry and it's stuck on there. This side isn't, as you can clearly see. Wonderful spam, glorious spam. So what we need to do is get our clay. We don't need the whole thing. We'll move this out of the way. We just need a section of it. But we're going to make a bigger section than we do need. So I'm going to just pop that in there, in the middle, and I'm going to squidge out. I've got a little streak of brown there. Look, I didn't rub that in properly. Don't matter. That's what, unless it's paint off my hands. Could be paint off my hands. It has been known. And then I am just going to squidge like this as much as I can. A band across this middle section. I really like the part of the mountains and I like the sky, that kind of section there. But I'm going to make it bigger than I need. Yeah, so have your tin next to you. It might be the tin that doesn't have anything on it. So, that's all you need. So we'll put that to one side. So you've just got your tin there because you haven't made anything yet. And you're just squidging and you're just using that as a rough guide of how big it needs to be. If you've got one of these little rolling pins, these are brilliant because I like to use this to then level out the back like that and get it nice and flat. Look at that. Beautiful. Job's a good one. See? Job's not a good one. I'm doing great at giving you all the things that could go wrong today, and that's fine because I'm human and it's crafting. So what you do, right? That's not a good one. We need more clay there. It's too thin. I'm hoping if you're a newbie and you're looking at me doing this, you feel better for it because this is just really how you just fix things. Seriously. Honestly, this is it. This is really just how easy it is. Don't feel that you've got to be super, efficient and look like, it's slick and it all happens fabulously the first time every time. It really doesn't. This is the worst one I've done. I honestly can say this is the worst of this I've done, and I'm not going to redo it and be all fabulous and pretend on camera and redo it. Okay, there may be other people watching who are thinking, Sheena, you should be redoing it, but I will stand my ground and state my case for doing that, because if you're new and you see this, I think it's better for you, because you'll just see that even if things don't go perfectly well, it's not the end of the world, right? Because if we lift this up, you should see you've got a section here that we can use perfectly well. We put that in there, right? And you get your craft knife, or just even a palette knife like that. If we cut across bigger than the tin, like this. All right, that's loads to spare there. Absolutely nothing wrong with any of that there. And then we cut down here, like that there. We're great with that chunk there, that there. Go around that tin. No problems at all. See? So where was the worry? Where was the bother? Nowhere. So what you're going to do, right? Here's the thing. You're going to cut off the excess as much as you can, but not to the point where you are. I mean, we can cut more of that, because the reason is the thing is we can use this clay again at this point when it's dry and we trim it. Oh, sorry, I'm bringing this up to camera. When it's dry and we trim it, you can't use it. Now we can use it. But you don't want to leave yourself with not enough room, like, shrunken too much and you can just see the tin. So you need I would say you need about that much at the top and the bottom to be safe, to give yourself wiggle room and trim room. So what you need to do is you need to do 2 of those like that, and you need to let them dry. Now, if you've got 2 spam tins, so if you're going to make one for yourself and of these and one for some, for someone else, that's brilliant. You can do, do the bases one day for you, bases another day for someone else, because then you can have 2 drying like this. And when they're dry, what you then do is you take your craft knife this time, like this. I'll show you on this one. And you, by the way, you let that dry for, 4 hours plus, 4 to 6 hours, say, on the tin. See how dry it is and see if you lift it up and it holds its shape. If it holds its shape, then turn it over and let it dry overnight in the spam shape. And then it's dry both sides, but it needs a good 24 hours to dry properly before you stick it to your tin, because you want as much shrinkage done as possible. Right. And then you should have something that looks like that. All right. And then what we're going to do is we are going to take this. Now, I've already done it on this side, but what you do is you put them both together, right? And they're both going to be too big. And the first thing you do is where the overlap is, you take your craft knife and you draw down. So have them overlapped, but then score down so that you've got a join. Fortunately, they're going to be too big each side, but that's brilliant because they're going to fit. The next thing you do is you take your craft knife and you hold it flat, carefully, just start to cut, keeping the knife flat, the paper away. Scissors. Just make it easier as you go. It's better if you can support it, watch your fingers, just keep your fingers well away. I'm usually not allowed to use one of these. Nobody's looking, don't tell anybody. I'm so accident prone. Right, and then obviously the bottom, same thing. Support the bit you're cutting as best you can. Again, fingers away. Because the less it flops around, the better, the more control you've got cutting it. Any little bits that you can tidy up. Now, if you've got a very fine sandpaper, you can just sand it and tidy it up, but be careful because it can get a bit fibrous if you do that too much. I'm just going to pop that down and put that on there just for safety. And then what you do, you take your, which one is it? So how will it fit? You take your Cosmic Shimmer glue and you put plenty on the seam, right? Plenty here and here, and all over the inside, and again around the edges if you can. And then what you're going to do is you are going to marry that up to that one and hold it really tight to the tin. It doesn't take long, but you really want that really nice and snug. It doesn't take long for Cosmic Shimmer to grip because of the low water content. And then, again, leave that to dry for an hour or so the glue's really cured and grabbed. Then we're ready to start constructing, but painting first. That's the next bit. Woohoo, we're doing well. So let's get painting. As you can see, so what I have here is I've got my palette, and in it I have some, I've got dark walnut, I have charcoal black, and I've got some olive green. What I would say is if you've got a little, if you've got a Sharpie pen, and there's somewhere on your palette where you can put a little, a BR for your brown and BL for your black and G for your green. You can actually see the green a little bit, but you really can't see the colour at all with these two. And it's easier if you can mark on it somewhere, and you can wipe it off with some hand gel or something later if it's a Sharpie, just so that it makes it easier when you're working, so you know which colour you're picking up. So what I need to do is I want to make a really thin wash, but I want to make a brownie black wash. So the brown, it's actually quite cool brown. It's not very warm anyway. So if I pop a little bit of black in that, it becomes it's kind of warm grey I want. So if I put quite a bit of black in there, can you see? And then and if you want to test your colours, the best way to test it is, but test it on the bottom of this one, because remember we're going to see the top. That's quite grey. So yeah, yeah, that looks good. But remember, you need to make enough of this wash up to do your whole of your item. All right, let's see what we've got here. So I'm just going to go over with this colour over the whole thing. And it's no fancy painting at all. This is it. This is as fancy as it's getting. Just like that. You can add a little bit of water if you think you're going to be running out a little bit. Resist scrubbing too much at your mould, because remember it is still paper, so you don't want to to smooth it out really. Don't be too harsh with it. So I'm just going to get all of that on there like that. Make sure you get the sides as well. It's awful if you miss some of the side bits or the bottom, and didn't look great. So just check there. Probably end up with your hands a lovely colour by the time you're done. I usually do. It's usually just before we're going out somewhere as well, which is lovely. Oh, big tip though, if you do get it on your hands, right, don't even entertain a liquid soap. It's useless. Get a bar of soap, a proper old-fashioned bar of soap. The difference just using a bar of soap makes is huge. But if you can get a bar of soap, in America, they had a bar of soap called, I can't remember, it might be lava, but it's had like a pumice in it, and that was brilliant. That really helped to get the ink off. But I've actually used, like the toothpaste with baking soda in it, that. Or you can just use regular soap and put a bit of baking soda in it. Right, so I've got that there. I don't know if this green's going to show up on this, but yeah, I don't want it bright. I just want it quite pale. A little bit here and there, like that. And it doesn't look great, does it? I mean, let's face it. I'm going to take a baby wipe. It's actually a water wipe, the ones that are 90% water, and I'm just going to dab off the raised areas. I'm taking most of it off, to be honest, because what I wanted that to do was just really fill the recesses on this rather than the raised areas, so you get all that lovely texture of the stone And it's up to you how much or little you leave on for the effect. And that's where also that buff colour clay helps. Instead of a stark white underneath, you've got that nice buff colour. If you do take too much off, you've got that showing underneath on my desk. And if you think, oh, I could do with a little bit more on there, you can always just add more, but I quite like that. I think that looks good. It brings out all the texture in it, and some light bits and dark bits. And the door, you can actually, you can go ahead and just paint it just the brown. And the same with the shutter. If you want to do a little bit of bring a bit of the foliage out in the rocks or whatever, you can do that as well. Your call. And you see now we've got that sorted. It's all done. Good to go. It's a little bit more browny than this one, but then that's just instead of putting more brown in there, you would put more grey in there. And if you want it more grey, then just go over with a little bit more black. And then that will just take away the browny colour. We want it moody and menacing and gothic looking. That there dragon to be menacing, claiming. Okay, there you go. How easy was that? As easy as it can be. Now for the landscape, I think we're going to go we'll go a bit more bluey grey for that one. Okay, so we'll pop that to one side, that can dry. So let's get cleaned up and then we'll do the landscape, which is this. This is what we're going to paint next. Now, I fancy doing it a little bit different to the other one. Just give it a little bit more of a cold, steely colour. You know when you've done something once, and then you do it again, you think, well, I want to mix it up a bit. So just know that for that one, this one here, I actually did the background the same as the castle. So same colour as the castle. Yeah, so whatever you did on the castle, do the same on here. But for this one, I think I might, just as an option for you, why not? Let's do that. I think I'm going to go and give it a little bit more of a slightly blue tint, just a bluey tint in the grey. It might look rubbish. I'm still going to put a bit of brown in there, but just a cooler grey this time, rather than a warmer grey. So just by using the black, touch of the brown again, so I don't want it all too much, and a little bit of the blue. You'll see if we get a bit of card, you know, it's tested on a bit of card as well, and then see how much more cool that is. It's very steely, isn't it, compared to that? It's got a much cooler tone, but it's still very muted. I think I like that, so we need to make enough of it. That's the thing, because we're going to have to do the whole thing, and we don't want to. It doesn't really matter if it's a bit patchy, to be honest, because it is kind of distressed looking, as you will be by the time you finish watching me doing this. Just know that. Okay, so yeah, I like that. It's got a bit of it looks a bit purpley. Let's do that, but let's water it down even more. Okay, let's go. Let's do it. So, it's quite strong, isn't it? So we're going to go for this. Just put it on like that, and if you think it looks a bit strong, put a bit more water in it. Do it. Why not? Because we are going to be wiping quite a bit of it off as well. Oh, I do like that. It's like a dark, steely grey. I love that. It's a lovely colour. Nice. Like a dark denim-y colour, really. Very nice. So that was the black, touch of brown and a touch of blue in it. More blue than brown. The brown was minimal. So here's the thing. For the mountains, they're going to soak up quite a bit of this. So just know that you're going to have to mix up quite a bit. And we might have to mix up a little bit more than we thought as well. Oh, it's a lovely colour. I very much like it. Yeah, I'm going to have to mix more of it though. Eek. Right. And make sure as well that you get the top. Because you don't want that looking white clay. You want any of that showing. Even if there's a little bit that's come away there. I'll probably try and glue that later or fill it in with something. You could fill in with a bit of clay, bit of glue, whatever. But for now, I just don't want any white clay showing. Okay. So also remember that this is going to be, I'm going to mix a bit more of that as well. That bit there. This is going to be blue, wiped off. We're going to use the wipes on this so it won't be as dark as this and they'll have more texture than this. I've probably got this colour all over my glasses and my face. I usually do when there's texture like this. Make sure you haven't got nobody around you or you're going to lose friends fast. The texture is amazing. The detail is stunning in these moulds. And you know what? You don't even see it. You keep finding new things. You know, you use the mould and then, you know, maybe a month or two later you see something else new in it and you think, oh, I didn't even see that. Just amazing. Very clever. Oh no, we're really getting thin on the ground on this stuff. Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to mix up a tiny little bit for this last bit. No. Okay. It is what it is. I'm going to put the blue there, around there. Well, I think we're good because that there. Yep, I think we're going to be okay. Phew. What I'm going to do is go around and look because there's easy to miss these little nooks and crannies in these mountains. You know, they're very, very textured. So you don't want any areas where paint hasn't got into those little bits, and you don't want little light bits showing through. You want the bits on the top light, not the bits in the nooks and crannies. They've got to be dark. So go around now and look for any recessed areas that are showing light, and just get your brush and have a little stipple to get the paint in those bits. And then you're going to wipe it off. What? Waste of time, Sheena. But it's not, because it looks great that way. It seams and tops and things. So, okay, right, now we take one of these wipes and we start to wipe up with the mountains and the sky. And this is where all that gorgeous, gorgeous artwork comes through. Look at the clouds. Look at those clouds. And the peaks on the mountains. Oh, I love that colour. I like that little bit of colour in it. It's so pretty. So I like to show you, variation. If we've already made one, then I like always, if I can, to make the second one with a little variation on it. Same process, same construction process and everything, but with a little tweak. So you can see, an option if you want to go with that. Oh, I think that'll look pretty with that colour. But again, it's got to be muted. A bright blue would look awful, horrible. But muted denim blue, I think looks... Look at that. Wow. Who would have thought Spam could look so good? Best dressed Spam I've ever seen. Should maybe write to the Spam people and say, do you ever think your Spam could look like this? There you go. I do like that a lot. Isn't it nice when you do something and you have a try at something and you think, yeah, I like it. But that's why we craft, that's why we do stuff. And I know you're watching me and you're probably thinking, oh, she's a bit sad. But I am, and I don't care, because that's why I'm still doing it. And if you don't get that little buzz, then what are you doing it for? You should still be getting these little buzzes and being, wowed still, I think. That's me anyway. Fab. Happy with that. Lovely. Because when we put that castle, look at the contrast. Look at that. Whoa. Liking it. And then with the dragon coming around, that looks quite nice. So it's going to look different to the other one. You can tone it down. If you want to tone it down, we could tone it down as well. But I think it doesn't need it, because I just really do love that colour. Yeah. Okay, well, looking good. We've done the tin. Yeah, we've done the tin. We've done the castle. Now, I think I had a previous castle, and I think that looks better. Just saying, right? Right, here's the thing. We painted this, the castle we just painted, right? And it's quite browny. This is the one I had painted previously, and it's quite greyish kind of, got a greeny tint to it. I think this one, and this is why I paint more than one, looks better with that than that one, because it's more muted, cool, kind of Nordic look. Like, we could call it this dragon. This is probably like, I don't know, maybe he's Boris or something. But this one's going to be called Sven. This is quite, he's very Scandinavian, this one. I think we're going to use that one. All right. Moving on. Clearing this up, we're going to use different product to paint Sven. And he's probably going to have a bluey tint, I'm just saying as well. We've gone with red. I'm going to go blue. Great. Decision made. Now we need to paint a very, very blingy dragon. I think we'll start with his claw. So I think the main colour needs to be green, teal, because doesn't need to be teal, it needs accent teal. It's really big, it's a tough one to decide, so best thing to do is look at here's the decision we've got to make. This is the colour here, so do we do them predominantly copper with teal accents and enchanted gold? Yeah, we do. Yes, we do. Needs to have the teal accents, copper. See how you just got to make that decision? Those are the colours for sure. That's what we're going to do. Right, so we're going to pop the lid back on there. Phew. Right, we're going to do predominantly copper. That will go really nice for that. Blue and copper, lovely. And we are going to use this stencil brush here. It's really important to use a nice stencil brush. They're not expensive. It's really worth investing in getting a good one. And I'm just going to pick up a little bit, just a dry brush. If you need to wash it, dry it thoroughly, right, before you start to use it, and take off as much of the excess paint as you can. And then hold this up so you can see it. Brush lightly over like this. Just, yeah, it's because you want that black to, like the other thing we painted with the wet paint to get into the nooks and crannies, so that we had contrast with this, and then wiped it off. With this one, we want the black to be the nooks and crannies to show the contrast, and this to be on the top. So the mission is to just drag this across the top to show off all of that lizardy skin. Look at that. It looks brilliant. Look at that. Fab, isn't it? I'm going to use nails a different colour. But I don't think you need more than that, you know, because more isn't always more with this. If you want a tiny little bit more shine, sometimes you can add a bit more. But be careful in doing that, because you can end up, if there's gloopy bits, putting it in a recess and ending up with a splodge. You don't want a splodge. So beware the splodge. The camera focus on that. Oh, look at my hands. Need to wash them. Bit inky, but hey, that's crafting. Right, I'm going to do the copper and everything, because that's going to be the base colour. So let's do the same on the wing. The wing's going to be fun because you can do some lovely ombre effects and things on the wing. I'll always, as well, go against any texture, across texture. So instead of going with those ribs in the wing, I'm going across the ribs on the wing. So don't go with it, go across it. Just going to hold it down a little bit so I can see better. And I don't want a lot of colour on the base, because I'm going to put some colour in that section in there. Don't mind the ribs being copper, but in there I'm going to have a blend of colour. Look at that. Ah, it just looks cool. It just colours itself, doesn't it? Makes it look like a really good artiste, see? And all you've done is just go against the pattern. So remember, wherever you can, turn it around, go against the pattern, not with it. And this will dry and get a bit gloopy, so you might have to stop and clean your brush every now and again and use a different little patch to splodge against, because that paint will start drying, being an acrylic base. Oh, and another thing, I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I should have taken some out, put it on here, put the lid on. Being very bad. Bad, Sheena. See, because I'm doing this with the cameras and not thinking. Not like me to not be thinking. I would normally take some out with a little palette knife and just leave it there, rather than leave the whole jar open. But as it is, I'm going to just do that too, so we can just carry on with this and then do the next part. So any accent colours I'm going to leave, because the colour will cover over the colour that's there. And it'll blend nicely. If I wanted to have a subtle kind of gradual build on that colour, it's nice to have the base colour on there first. so it'll transition to the accent colour. Look at that. It looks like metal. Honestly, when you do this and you get this in your hand, you will absolutely, when you lift it up, if someone was to give you this and you didn't know what it was, when you pick it up, it'll be that thing when your hand goes really high because you're expecting weight to it and it just flies up because it's light as a feather, but it literally looks like it would weigh a ton. It's just been forged. It's ridiculous. So that beautiful. This is the copper shine. Copper shine looks like metal. It really does just look like, looks like metal that's come to life, this dragon. It's been forged and now it's just come to life. I watched too much Jason and the Argonauts when I was a kid. You know, the old one, Harry, what's his face on? Right, so it's up to you how much you want to put on there, but bearing in mind I want to put more colour on there. You know, less is more, you can always add more. So now I'm going to pop that in some water because I don't want that drying on your brush. We're going to put some bling on it, some teal. And again, you would take some out and do that, but I'm just going to do some little bits of highlight here and have fun with it. I think we might do, but we'll do his nails teal. We'll give him a salon, fresh from the salon look. Again, just lightly over the tips, and then that's a pretty good nail job there. Looking good. All right. And less is more. We'll do the wings. And I want to do the tips of the wings in lovely bluey ombre look. So again, less is more. I want this to be really have a blue sheen with a flash of blue right at the end. Really bright. It's quite heavy with that there. You can see. Wow, it's gorgeous, isn't it? Now you're not going to see this bit down here, but I'll just do it just anyway, just do that bit. And then we'll just gradually just fade it a little bit towards the centre. Because I'm probably also going to put a little bit of that enchanted gold on there, which will bling it up even more, will give it a little bit more of a pop. Yeah, I like that a lot. Lovely. And now him, let's see, we'll give him, yeah, let's do the ridge blue. And again, that the gold that we're going to put on will be the very last accent colour that we're going to use. And that should be really light, hopefully, and give it a nice light glint to everything. So I still want to look like he's vintage and coppery. I don't want him bright blue, but I want that blue glint to it. Brighter in places. Now, what do you think? Just a tiny little bit there, just fading into his nose a little bit, his nostrils. Looking good. Right. That's the ocean teal, beautiful colour. I feel like he needs a little bit on his hands, a little bit, just a touch blue. just a hint. I think this is quite dry. Right, Enchanted Gold. So this is the glint, the pop of highlight here and there. See how that's lightened that up? And we can do the same on the wings. See how pretty that is. The gold in it. Lovely, isn't it? This could be one of those when we go that way instead of across, just to get them filled in there. So there's actually texture inside these little ribs, so we're okay to do that this time lightly. And then you've got all that lovely texture there. And if you want to pop some bit more blue on later, we can go back and do the blue. But you've got all these different colour options. If you've got more of these fabulous polishes, you've got even more to play with. So, you know, it's just the combinations are amazing. And if you're making a few of these at a time, you can see how you can mix and match and swap and think, oh no, that one looks better with that one, and this one looks better with that one. And it's good fun because they don't all have to look exactly the same. As you can see, what I've just done, I've mixed up the colour combination and given it a different vibe, which I really like. It's more fun for you, and I think it's better for the recipient of the gift because it's much more personalised then as well. Aha, got his eye. Brilliant. I wanted that. Can you see the eyes come out then? Hey. Don't paint his eyes, just let the polish catch his eye. Now I love that combination of those colours, the blue, the copper and the light gold. It looks very kind of like, well, it does look cool. It's just a lovely colour combination, I think. It's really pretty. And I think it'll go with that display that we have really well. I think it's quite a classy combination of it. It's like a designer dragon. Hello. Let's see what we've got. I'm wondering if we do need a tiny little bit more blue. But you know what? The best way to find out is to do a little mock-up with this. Let's see which side looks best for the front. That's the best one. Front. Saying that, you don't see much of the front. Let's say that. Let's just do that. And let's say that's the castle. Yeah. And let's say the wing's going to come about there. Oh, look at that. Oh, hey. And he's going to come maybe about over about there. Oh, I'll do like that. Yeah, I love it. Love those colours. And then the hand about there. His hand, his claw. Yeah, I'm liking it. Try the different colour castle. So remember that. It's a team effort. If it's wrong, I'm blaming everybody who's watching. It's your fault. If it's right, then I had a great idea. Just saying. Right, so let's try another one. I think the other one's better. Yeah, I like the other castle better. Yeah. You see how that one hasn't shrunken down yet because it's not fully dry. You see how it's still got to shrink down. Yeah. Anyway, that's what we're going to do, and I hope you love it as much as I do because we're going to stick it all together. A little bit more painting to do, and then construction. Now we've got all of this stuff that we've made. That looks pretty cool, but it all has to come together. Similar to this. So what I've done, I've just done it because it wasn't very exciting, is this, if you remember, was the light clay like that, and the back didn't look pretty. So what I have done is I've painted it with some black gesso, because that is going to be seen behind when we put it together. So just a coat of black gesso. So that's that explained. So that's that done. The next thing is sticking everything together. Now, we're going to have to think about that, because it's a little bit bulky and we need to try and reduce that where we can. So we're going to use Cosmic Shimmer glue, obviously. We're going to have to, first of all, lay out where things are going to go. So the castle needs to go kind of to the left, but also needs to be straight with the bottom of your tin, like that. So if you line it up and get it squared up with the bottom, and just do that by eye. Now, the first thing that needs to go onto your base is the wing, because that's going to come behind the castle, isn't it? Castle straight there, the wing comes out, and it's up to you how much you want to come out. Now, I wouldn't put too much out, because you don't want, if you have too much sticking out or too high, it's going to run the risk of getting caught, and it could break. So I think something like that is pretty cool. Just about there looks about spot on to me. So there's enough room there for then your dragon head to come across like this. Now what we need to do is we need to try and reduce this gap behind here as much as possible, but we're going to do that. We can do that as well. So we'll come back to him. We'll start with this. The wing itself is quite flat. It's not too bad. The biggest problem, I think, is where this meets this. And if you look, that's going to cover that bit. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pen or a pencil and try and draw a line like this. Something that I can see. Maybe a white pencil. Did I have one? Did have one. Or a coloured pen. Do I have a colour? That's not a colour pen. This is a colour pen, but whether it'll show or not, we do not know. And you might have trouble seeing it, but it's rough guide anyway. Just about then. It doesn't matter if you mark into the clay, because what we're going to do is we're going to roughly eyeball that, and we're just going to cut that off, the chunky bit, because we don't need it. And all it's doing is adding bulk to the whole thing. I know it looks, we've painted it all. Oh, what a shame. But if we don't need it, we're not going to use it. So it's, like I say, just adding bulk, and we want that as close to there as we can at the top. So, but we don't want to see where we've cut it either behind the castle, so that has to tuck in. So just make sure you don't cut too much off, or you'll have to tuck it in more. You can angle it out a bit, but that's good. All right. So when you've found the angle you want, and it works with the castle or the ruin, you could probably glue that down, because that's the first thing we can say that's definitely happening. And it's not that easy, because it's all a bit bibbly-bobbly and wibbly-wobbly. But we can look at maybe, pads, foam pads and things like that later to get it a bit more secure. But for now, we can just pop some glue on it just to hold it where we need it to be while we put everything together. We can get more secure grip on it later. But we'll just hold that together for now. This is going to be as exciting as watching paint dry. You're actually watching glue dry. Woohoo! How nice. All right, so the important thing is that you keep pressure on it till it grips. So yes. I wish I could find that white pencil, because that would come in very handy, because we're going to have to do this exercise again with the dragon's head, because we don't want all this bulk on here, because I actually cut part of the dragon's head there so that we're not going to have lots of clay behind the ruin as well. So, you know, that's gripped already, so that's good. Doesn't take long with that glue, does it? Very good stuff. And that's a big ask with all that texture. So, you know, you may have to, like I say, go over and look at bits and add bits of glue and just strengthen it afterwards. But just so you can see how I put this together. For now, that's basically it. Now, what you do is you make sure that the wing is tucked behind properly, so you're not going to see it. And that looks pretty good there, I'm liking that. And then what you're now going to do is put your dragon's head where you want it, so you can have it further down. I quite like that there, I like that position there. That looks really cool. What do you think? I want to see more of them. We've painted it really well, so let's see it all. So now we need to draw a line. Let's draw the line. Somehow that we can see there. So it's from the top of his thing there. Whether I'm going to be able to see this or not, who knows? I'm hoping it's going to etch into it more than actually draw a line on the clay. I think it's etched into it okay, because now I'm going to be really, really brave and I'm going to do that. Yikes, can you believe it? Oh no, what did I just do? Because that now is going to go there, like that. And he's going to go there like that. Yeah, that's cool. See, now there's no bulk behind there. But you wouldn't know it because it, you know, it still looks like he's coming from behind. And we can stick the dragon there. In fact, I'm going to stick this here first because he's not actually coming from behind. He's just sitting next to it. So let's stick this. Now, what you could do, what would be really good, is to find something. You could probably even have moulded a piece of clay, you know, like a little step of clay, like a little briquette of clay, and pop it in there as a support. You know, this is like when you make something, it's kind of like the prototype, isn't it? Now that I've made this, I would actually say when you make your sample, I'm sure I've got a sample that we could probably use, you know, even like see where if you could put that in there like that, that would act as like a little support for this here. Does that make sense? If I took that off there and just something like that. When you stick this, you're going to have a little gap still there. And if you had a piece of clay that was not as thick as that, so a little bit thinner, hope I still have fingers at the end of this. And you could just stick that in there. Actually, that doesn't work too bad. There's a little fix-it to give your castle. See, it fills the gap and it'll give it more support. You know, you could make a neater one, but as a work in progress, that would just fit down there with some glue on it and fill that gap and look better. In fact, I think I was going to do that now as a little something to do. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to make that top bit tidier. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to, because I think it'll look better. I'm going to take the little top of that mountain to make it even easier. That's the beauty of the paper clay. You can really just sculpt what you need to make the job easier, can't you? There you go. That now should fit there nicely. I've moved mountains for this project, I hope you know. Now, that should level up that better for sticking it down. So, you know, it needs more glue, a bit more time, but for now, we're going to put some glue on this. That should level that out better. And I need to see how far up I need to glue this. Start of the window about there, because you don't want glue all up the top where you don't need it. I'm not the one for measuring, as you can see. It doesn't always work well for me, but usually get around it. If you're good with the old ruler, I would say go for it. Me and numbers, not so much. So you have plenty of glue really to make this, you know, strong and sturdy and permanent. So that's going to go there. Oh, a little bit further over. I'm sticking out a little bit too far there. I don't want that too far out from the edge. Stick that down like that. And obviously give it some pressure so it's got contact. Yeah, I like that better. It just fills that gap a bit. Oh no, I've just broken his wing. Do you see what I mean about the delicate thing with the, if you have it out too much? Be careful of that. If that happens, you can glue it back very carefully. And this is where, all right, this is honestly where, if you have a resin-based product, you absolutely can do the same thing. I would still use, I was thinking of this because I've been using eco resin as well. So here's the perfect combination for this project, in my opinion, right? In my opinion, you use paper clay around the Spam tin because that is pliable. You can mould it around the tin. It hugs the tin and it dries perfectly, okay? That is the perfect medium for around the tin. Paper clay around there. And if you've got it, if you use something like eco resin for the castle and the wing, brilliant. And you can still use your paper clay for your dragon head because the dragon head's not going to get any wear and tear. It's not vulnerable. It's not going to be anywhere that would break. You're not going to catch it and lift it up, and it's not going to get any. It's a chunky piece of paper clay as well, but the eco resin would be really good for that. Oh, and this, maybe we can do something in future with that as well to show you how that works, and that would be a great combination to do. It's so easy to use. And it's a combination. It's, again, horses for courses. You know, you don't just use one thing. You use them in combination and they play to their strengths. Oh, I nearly forgot about his hand. What am I like? His hand's got to go in yet as well. Okay, that's stuck now. So we're going to stick his hand or his claw, whatever you want to call it. Plenty of glue on there as well. Right, so we'll have him coming over there like that. Again, there's loads of anchor on there, so that doesn't need to be anything other than, paper clay is all good for that too. Another thing you can do to reinforce this is you could make your wing, draw around it and cut some cord and stick it to the back before you stick it to this, which would be another way of reinforcing it. There's always other ways to strengthen it if you want to do that, because it's such a cool looking project. I mean, imagine how many people would love that as a gift. It is so fabulous and so easy to make and so affordable, whereas to spam tin and to paper clay. And I'm sure some cord would strengthen that. It's definitely just those little pointy bits that are the weak part of that would need a little bit of help. The rest of it isn't bad at all. It's just the little doodahs there. Right. There we have it. So we have let me get everything nice and clear so you can have a lovely look at what we've created. We've got the warmer version, Boris here, and Sven. Tricky little tinkers they are. They like to invade the odd castle. There's no telling them. Hope you've enjoyed that. I have. And, we've looked at little things that could go a little bit not to plan, and we've shown you how to fix them and how to work around them, and suggestions on tweaks. Clearly, we've changed the colour scheme from Boris's, tricky little ways there to Sven's dodgy dealings as well. So, I think that is so cool. I'll be having one on my desk for sure, possibly both. And take care of yourself. So I've been Sheena Douglas, if you want the full thing, and the educator for Cosmic Shimmer. And keep looking out, because we'll be bringing you so much more. And because the product's only as good as you know what to do with it. And so keep looking out for more. Take care of yourselves. Bye.